Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So, let's see. Mr. Chair, would you like to wait a couple of more minutes to see
Sure,
if
we
other?
can see if anybody else wants to join.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. I think we're just missing.
It's just Derek, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, just let me know when you're ready, Mr. Chair.
I'm ready anytime.
Okay. So the meeting starts at 1:01.
101. Hi, my name is Chris Gans. Call the order and roll call, please.
Mr. Barrett? Not here. Mr. Burr?
Present.
Mr. Gans?
Present.
Mr. Madlick?
Present.
Mr. Poster?
I'm here.
Ms. Schambach?
Here.
And Mr. Viner?
Here.
We have quorum, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is item 2, review and approval of 5/5/2025 draft legal action report.
Look good to me. Motion to approve is presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next item is call the audience. Individuals may speak up to 3 minutes. Are there any individuals who want to speak on this item? Don't hear anybody, so we'll go to item 4. SD-1124-00119 O'Malley's Bar and Grill, the new outdoor serving area. Related activity is item DP22-0152, located at 360 East 8th Street, parcel number 11706077V as in Victor, C3 I1 zoning, infill, downtown infill and center district, IID, downtown leak sub-district, 4th Avenue sub area FSA, FAS, and 4th Avenue area FFA. Okay, the applicant's request.
So, Mr. Chair, members of the DRC, so the existing O'Malley's is seeking to make use of the area that was formerly used by the old trolley for storage, and so now they want to use that area for their expansion of their food service land use. So it'll be outdoors, new serving area, and there's an existing awning, and that awning is not designated as historic. What's designated as historic is the existing building of the O'Malley's itself. I will let the applicant do his presentation, but you know, the building is a contributor to the Warehouse National Register. And is surrounded by contributors to both the warehouse on the 4th Avenue, National Register Historic Districts. The design review professional reviewed the project and recommended approval. The PRS from the Tucson Pima County Historical Commissions reviewed the project last month and recommended approval as presented by the applicant. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. I know the design professional, Corky Poster, is here, and as well as the applicant.
I had one quick correction, and it was in the paperwork from back in 2022 with the application. It checks historic preservation zone, and it's not. It's just a National Register district.
So it's in the application, Mr. Burr, itself?
Yeah, it was in the application dated 2022.
Okay, so we'll make sure to address that with the applicant.
Yeah.
Any other questions from me? Okay, thank you.
It's still in the packet, so it should be corrected.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I don't know if you would like Mr. Poster to go through his review, or if you would like the applicant to go first.
We can go with Mr. Poster first and then the applicant.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Chris. I feel a little bit like the third grade teacher at open school night where you inform the parents of the student that they got all A's on their report card. I use a 7-page template that looks at every single issue in the IID. Most of it is not relevant, and all of it is positive. I'd be happy to you have a copy of it, I assume. And it was, my comments were always in red and always positive. I think it might be simply best to review the last 2 paragraphs of the document, which would be on page 6 and 7. Under section 512.6.3, do you have that? I can just go through it. Is the opinion of the design professional that the proposed design for the covered patio, open patio, fencing, and landscape complements and is compatible with the contributing structures on the O'Malley site, does not imitate the design, but respectfully creates a contemporary space that achieves compatibility as described above in item 2. The proposed construction and landscape materials do an excellent job of integrating this with the 4th Avenue historic commercial district. Furthermore, the applicant has done an extraordinary job. Excuse me, let me fill this phone. Activating this undeveloped eyesore on the 4th Avenue Historic District. The reviewer agrees with the summary sentences of the neighborhood meeting. All participants agree that the proposed use is more in keeping with the design intent. Majority of comments regarded support for having a parcel activated to more appropriate use. I think it looks good. Those are all in quotes. I support it. If there's anything else you need from me, let me know. Those are all in quotes. The reviewer supports all the intended IID modifications to the UDC that the applicant was very good at summarizing. And then finally, it says, I want to commend Fours and Scott Cummings for their excellent application. They provided all the required information, checked all the boxes, and made it easy and simple to review. The design is robust, meets the programmatic requirements of the owner, and uses design and material selection to create a beautiful space that will be an asset to the 4th Avenue Commercial District. I recommend approval as submitted. I can go over any of the other items if need be, but I think my overall comments are quite positive, and I recommend approval.
Thank you, Corky. Any questions for Corky?
None. Pretty straightforward.
Okay. Then any comments from Fours Architecture? Thank you,
No.
Corky.
No, thank you very much for the compliments, Corky. You guys still want me to present this thing?
What is it? Been 3 years? When was that neighborhood meeting? It was so long ago. It's like I
No,
can't.
I'm happy to take you guys through it. This has been a long time application in the works, and I had to refresh myself on it as well too. So hopefully I remember everything well enough, and I can take you guys through when you're ready.
So Richard, you are a co-host now, so you can share your screen.
Great, thank you, everyone. Let's see. All right, so hopefully everybody can see my screen now, and you should be looking at an aerial photograph of 4th Avenue and 8th Street.
Yes.
And what we're looking at here, this is in the area in red is the subject parcel. I should say it was the subject parcel. When we started this process, you can see right next to it, this is O'Malley's. I should qualify first. This is 8th Street and 4th Avenue. Everybody's probably familiar with this area. This is the new student housing project. I apologize, I forget the name. Across the street is the Hut, and then other 4th Avenue amenities. So this piece is O'Malley's. Previously,
Market.
O'Malley's, I'm going to just skip down to this map. Previously, O'Malley's and this lot down below were one parcel, and this was another parcel. Part of the development plan review asked us to incorporate these parcels. So now I'm going to kind of just use my development zone map as a qualifier. Now this is one big parcel. So at the end of the day, we were originally trying to develop this, like I said, separately. Now this is part and parcel with O'Malley. So it's O'Malley's, and this will be a part of O'Malley's. The arrows that you see on screen are some photographs that I'm going to take you through just for reference. Again, I feel everybody's familiar with this site, but let's kind of take a look at it anyways. This photograph is looking directly sort of south from 8th Street, and you can see the student housing project in the background again. And this is the backside of O'Malley's, and then this large structure here is a existing covered structure. I should back up 1 second here and just qualify real quick that what we're looking at here, this was previously the old Pueblo trolley repair and storage area. So before we had our modern streetcars, some tracks came into this place. It was not owned by the applicant, Mr. Cummings. This was a covered area where they parked the trolley and they did work on it. And the use for this was commercial storage and trade repair. And that's how the use stands right now. This the owner of O'Malley's purchased this property and is looking to change the use to be more compatible with the food service and alcohol use over here, so that this will become an amenity to this. So jumping back over here. So again, now looking at it, this is a existing covered structure where they used to park the trolley to work on it. And then looking at it a little bit more straight on, again, you can see this kind of fenced in yard with gravel and this existing kind of covered patio. Looking a little bit. Looking across this kind of down this alley, so over on to the right here is the subject parcel. You can see the hut over here in the background and some offices. Looking to the north, again looking down 8th Street, looking towards the east. This is the side of O'Malley's in green, and then the red brick of the back of O'Malley's, and then the subject parcel just to the right of it. Looking backwards. Again, with the subject parcel would be over here on this side. This is looking back at the new drive into the housing project. And then looking back down 8th Street towards the west, again, you can see a little piece of the covered awning, and then again, the student housing as well. Lastly, looking back towards the original O'Malley's building, which is again, our project's on the back side of it. And then from the side, you can again see a little piece of the project. I'm going to skip right into the plan. What we're looking to do here is you can see that we have this kind of trapezoidal shape. This area here where you see the tables and chairs, that is the existing covered what used to house the trolley. We would like to turn this into a seating area, and then we would like to turn the remainder of the area into an enclosed fenced area that would have gaming and amenities for the patrons. So this ends up becoming a connection, an accessory to O'Malley. So there would be food and beverage served here, and then you would have a courtyard. Currently, O'Malley's has some outdoor seating on this sort of north portion of it, but this would provide a nice courtyard amenity for O'Malley's, and then we would plant trees around here and also other landscape. I'm going to kind of jump into this axonometric because it kind of is a little more telling. So you can see again here is the backside of O'Malley's existing brick. This is the covered what used to hold the trolley, and now we're cleaning it up a little bit. We're adding the perimeter fencing, the trees along the side, and the other amenities. Kind of skipping into looking at this more from the courtyard view. Again, you can see here that what we've done, we've actually raised this seating area up. This is because there are some existing openings that go into O'Malley, some roll-up garage doors. There's also a smaller person door here that's not shown up, but the idea would be that these garage doors could be open and you would be able to access this directly from O'Malley's. We would work that out during the building permit stage, but the idea again is that this would be connected and this would provide courtyard space for O'Malley's. Lastly, looking down A Street, again, more of a street view, you can see what we're proposing here is to enclose in this rusted 6-foot fence. The idea is a decorative fence, just to kind of provide enclosure. We have planters. We have trees that were previously in planters, but it was recommended by the design professional that we plant these trees. So we relocated them to be actually just typical planted trees that will be a part of the landscape. Kind of skipping down to the next exhibit. This again, this is the landscape plan. You can see the trees that I was just mentioning. And at this point in time, we have slated mesquite trees with slipper plant to be in the raised planters. This of course would end up being subject to our final development plan and landscape plan. This is what we're proposing at this point in time, as we like the way that this looks. Shade study that was required of this, so we're adding there's a lot of shade there. Well, there is existing shade here from the structures. We're adding more with the trees that we're providing in the courtyard. These represent more of an elevational views to I think the renderings are pretty descriptive, but this is to kind of try to just show from a two-dimensional perspective, scale, heights of things. You can see everything that we show here is in a dash line is existing. If I kind of skip up to my my plan again, what we're looking at right now, if we're looking from this direction towards the project, we would be seeing this facade where this portion of O'Malley's is gray. It's actually like a white gray on one side, green on one side, red brick on the other. It kind of jumps all around, but the idea would be this is the sort of backside of it, and this is the sort of scale of the 6-foot fence and the trees as we understand them to be. We can kind of jump the next elevation is more looking at it from this direction. And again, we're looking at it here again in sense of scale, the existing brick, the existing canopy, and then you can see the kind of scale and height of the proposed raised sort of seating area we'll provide, and then also the fencing. The last view, looking back towards from the A Street view, kind of looking at this direction, and where the existing building is green. And here's the covering, and here's our fencing. This is the primary access point from the outside. I'm going to kind of skip back over to let's get back over to this view. The idea would be the primary access from the outside is sort of right behind O'Malley's. It would be right in this area here, and then also there'd be connectivity to the actual O'Malley's as well. Materials for this project, on the top is existing red brick, existing painted white, kind of a grayish color brick. There's a green. There are exposed concrete and the existing metal roof on the existing covered area. We're proposing a rusted steel fence, rusted steel planters. This is a kind of a weathered decking look that we want to do for the raised seating area. Black paint and gray paint for the guardrail and structure as well. As was mentioned previously, this project, the O'Malley's is contributing, so therefore, everything else is adjacent to it. In this kind of zoomed in view right here, the areas in pink are the contributing areas, and the areas in blue are not. But again, we're definitely understand that we're adjacent to this project. Here's the Arizona Historic Property Forum, just kind of explaining the situation. This project did go through historic review already, which is atypical in this process. Usually you guys are first, but due to scheduling, historic did look at this and it was approved. Lastly, some precedents that we thought were similar across the street from this project is the box yard has indoor and outdoor amenity space. Across the street, the shanty's been there for a long time, indoor and outdoor space. And then lastly, the more recent Corbett's a little bit further away, but in the general area, providing indoor and outdoor space is what we're trying to kind of illustrate here. That's the nature of the O'Malley's would be the indoor space, and then the new patio would be the outdoor space. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to any questions or comments that anybody might have.
Thank you, Richard. Any questions for Richard? Any comments?
Yeah, one quick
I just
question.
have a question, just,
Go ahead.
Go first.
do you want me to go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah. And then John can follow you, Robin.
Okay, okay. This is just trying to get clarity on the patio itself or the covered area. If you come out onto the covered area, you're on the upper patio,
Yeah.
and then to go back to the outside space, you go back through the ADA ramp. Is that correct? Everybody kind
Well,
of uses that same route.
Yes, so there's an existing ADA
Because there's
ramp
a
right
guardrail
now.
all the way around the raised patio, right?
That's right. So
Right.
what we ultimately, this hasn't been fully resolved at this point. We would resolve that more during the building permit, but yes, it was pointed out to us also at the historic review that we should provide some connectivity with the raised area and the lower area. So we will have to work, and we have plenty of room to incorporate a ramp and stairs. And that would be something that we would do during the building permit. And then also when we complete the
Okay.
development plan, we do intend to do that connectivity.
Yep, that's the only question I had. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
Thanks. John?
I didn't see it in the listings. Real grass, fake grass.
Yeah, right now we're thinking turf at this point in time, just to be, more responsible.
Okay. I encourage real grass. There turns way back 5 years ago, everyone was starting to go with artificial grass, and it now has huge environmental concerns. So I like turf, but I don't know if it's realistic at this particular site. So it was just a clarification, and I assume that's just crushed granite.
Yeah, exactly. That would be kind of a compressed DG and then a turf. We also like the idea of grass as well, real grass as well too. But my wife works for Tucson Water, so I could never have real grass here.
And is that like a bocce or some other sort of?
Yeah, exactly. The idea would be a variety of games. Right now, we have it depicted as a bocce court and some outdoor picnic tables and other kinds of outdoor amenities that we could incorporate here, cornhole, things that would complement this outdoor area and provide a more interesting environment.
And one other thing I'm encouraging, black paint doesn't work real well in summer here, and it ages really badly in Tucson. So I would encourage you to go with a bronze color, but that's just a
Yeah.
personal preference.
Sure, absolutely. That's a noted point for this area in here. We had it depicted as gray just because that's the palette we chose, but it could easily be a bronze. Would probably work better with a rusted fence, anyways.
Eric's here. I'm not sure. Eric, when did you join?
At 1:12, my apologies. I got stuck on a call and forgot what time it was.
The minute should reflect that. Welcome.
Eric, do you have any comments, questions?
So I got a couple. First of all, I'm on the fence on real grass and artificial grass for many reasons, but I think the bigger issue is actually trying to provide real grass versus fake grass and meeting the water harvesting requirements, because you won't meet them unless you were collecting this entire roof.
Right.
Second is, what are you doing for water harvesting? And in that same note, I think you really want to study, I think the design professional noted the size of the planters and actually promoted those being in ground. I completely agree with that. If you want any kind of tree that's going to provide significant size and shade. And I think in overall, just from a design perspectives, we can't be doing 4x4 planters or even 4x8 planters anymore if you really want a tree to grow. So we're doing a disservice with the current codes in that aspect.
I think when I started this project, as I mentioned, these were trees and planters. So we did not resolve that in the development plan and the landscape plan, and we pivoted after the design professionals' input and for this review. But the development plan is on hold until, pending approval of this. So when we move on into the development plan, I feel that, we will be meeting, we'll be required to meet, water harvesting and landscaping, requirements. And at that point in time, we'll be incorporating that, down the line. Like I said, it was, this is mostly about design, but we definitely will be incorporating that.
Okay. Other than I don't mind, the mesquites and all that stuff look good. And I would just say, if you can incorporate water harvesting however you possibly can, you really could probably feed these trees, especially if they're native mesquites, not the hybrids,
Right.
without really doing irrigation, if you wanted to.
No, those are great comments. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Richard or anyone else?
I just have two not so pertinent questions, but if it's approved and you go to development, is there a timeline for implementing this project? And two is, once a district modification is made and approval is done, is there a time period under the codes where this expires if the work isn't done after a certain period of time, or is it open? You got this approval and you can wait 10 years to do it, and then does it ever need to be revisited if environment and things have changed that might change the opinion if it wasn't built right away?
And so I can start to answer the first part of that, and then I'll let you guys answer the second part. But we want to proceed with this as quickly as possible. The owner of the parcel, came to us some time ago, over a year ago, because he was wanting to do some temporary events in the space. And then the way that it was working with with this licenses and things, he was recommended to just turn it into this full term. And at the end of the day, because so much of this is existing, this is a very cost effective project. It's very affordable to build this out because so much of it is already there. So at this point in time, his plan was originally he wanted this to be open in the fall. And this project has not any fault of this review, but just it has kind of been delayed for a variety of reasons. And we want to get approval of this and then incorporate everything in development plan, get the development plan approved, and then get the building plan, which would be much simpler, approved as fast as we can. So I'm expecting, I'll be lucky if I could get approvals by September. So we're probably looking at more like late, this opening, probably like, maybe Christmas-ish, over the holidays at the soonest. But the idea is we're fast tracking this as much as we can.
Actually, I do have one more question. There are some streetlights attached to the trolley poles and things on the perimeter there, but what's your plan for lighting? Are you like doing stringers over the courtyard with bulbs, or will there be canopy lights? I'm just your thoughts. I mean, there's no specific direction. It's just we don't want it to become a dark area that like the homeless crawl over at night.
Right, for sure. We really like the idea, of string lights. Sometimes we have a hard time getting those through the outdoor, or the night, the dark sky variants. So at under the canopy, with that area is going to be lit, and there would be certain, safety lights that we would be required to provide for exiting purposes on the building. And at the end of the day, we would like, more mood lighting for sure, and whatever we can get approved, during the development process. We'll want this to be lit too, because the owner wants it to be occupied at night, with people, and we need light for people to be here at night. Night's going to be one of the best times to be here, actually. So that's kind of a little bit to be determined, but we definitely we'll be incorporating lighting.
You could even put in solar lights out.
And that'd be a great way to light it down low, like kind of landscape lighting and whatnot. So yeah, that's a good recommend.
So Richard, you're shooting for the end of the year to have this open, is that correct?
That would be the idea. Like I said, he wants to open it. He keeps calling me every day and asks me where this is at. So not every day, but he calls me very frequently. So we're definitely pushing as fast as we can.
Maria, as a matter, I assume because the landscaping plan isn't developed, and some of those things will be worked out in the permitting process. This is our last step, isn't it? Unless there's a greater than 10% change where it has to come back for any review.
So, Mr. Burr, Mr. Chair, members of the DRC, so the DRC has options, right? They can recommend as presented, they can recommend with conditions, and they can request the applicant to return with proposed modifications to the design package. If this moves forward today, yeah, all these items that were discussed will need to be addressed at the development and construction document review processes. If at that point staff realizes that there's, you know, significant modifications or even minor modifications, you know, compared to the approved design package, the process is that it goes to the design professional for a review and determination. If it just needs a minor review, which it will just go through the design professional, and a modified design package will need to be submitted for approval, or the design professional can determine that it's a major modification, and then it goes through the whole review process again, including the PRS and the IID DRC.
But that's just a triggering if it's like substantially completely different. But otherwise, Corky can handle the minor details to make sure it's appropriate.
Yeah, per code, if the design professional in coordination with staff, right, determines that it's minor, so then it's reviewed only by the design professional.
All right.
So the reason I asked and is because we approved changes to the structure across the street, the hut, a while back before this one. And you know, since that time, the only thing I've seen really go up was some fencing and a tent, but it wasn't what we had been shown or approved that was going to go there. There was going to be other improvements at that property in regards to Herbert and some other restaurant prep and things going on. And so I'm just curious, as we do these approvals, how long it can go, and if a temporary structure can be put up instead of permanent, and you know, how far, you know, true to the approval does the owner have to keep it?
And this is Corky. I can kind of comment on both of the last comments. With regard to Maria's comment about minor versus major, I could give a good example of the Corbett building, the Corbett's. We did an approval of that, and after that approval, they came back and changed the restaurant use to pickleball courts indoors. And it came to me, and I had to make the judgment about whether it was a major or a minor change. I made the judgment that it was major. And so it had to go back through the DRC again. In also response to the hut, Maria can back me up on this, but I reviewed that many years ago, and I've since reviewed a more recent updated proposal, probably within the last 7 months. And I don't know how that's proceeding. And I cannot answer the temporary buildings other than to explain that I did make a recommendation that whatever structure gets built there goes out to the corner so that the street facade of 4th Avenue is maintained instead of setting it back. It was setting back from 4th Avenue, but on the property line on 8th Street. And my recommendation was to have it be on the property line, both on 4th and 8th, to keep the storefront character of 4th Avenue.
I can add real quickly to the HUD if I may. You know, actually I participated, it was somebody else's IID in my firm, but I picked up that project in the one that Corky's referencing. And the HUD, the original idea was a very long time ago. It was pre-COVID, and COVID kind of changed a lot, disrupted a lot of plans. And there was the temporary tent that's been there for a very long time was a COVID answer, a COVID solution, temporary solution. And that the owner has kept. And since then, he has determined, similar to what Corky mentioned, that he wants a permanent structure to create some kind of an environment not dissimilar to what we're looking at right now. And so that IID has to completely be redone in order for this to take effect. So what we have in essence done is abandoned the first one, and we're working on a second one that would propose the changes. So that what Corky reviewed was a preliminary approach, and that was to determine again if we could make those changes in a minor, or we would need to go through the process, and it was determined that we needed to go through the process all over again. So we're in the design phase on that project. And so that project now it's on hold, and the owner's keeping that tent just to keep things going until we can move that forward. And ultimately, now he wants to focus on this property first, and this property will be activated. And then while this is moving along, then we'll turn our eyes back to the revising the HUD, and this will likely come before this council again.
And it's the same owner, so.
Same owner, exactly. So this will
Why I'm
come before
asking.
this council again. Yeah, you'll see that project again, and it will be a better version of its previous self.
Well, I believe what you're saying, Corky and Richard, that if it stays minor, that it doesn't come back to us. If there are major changes, it will come back to us, and I'm comfortable with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, any other comments before we have a motion?
I just have a quick question.
Okay.
In one of the diagrams, and I probably have my directions screwed up, it looked like there was still going to be a fairly significant vacant parcel adjacent to the building. And is there any plan for that? That area back there, correct?
Parking.
Mute.
Parking again, isn't it?
So I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, that's a parking area right now. This photograph is dated, right? This was a staging area for the housing project. Right now, this is just a parking area. And, that's partly, I think way back in the day, there was some parking for the O'Malley's that is, very insufficient, which is partly why we're going for this infill incentive district. So I believe the parking is remaining as is.
So the parking will remain, that will remain for parking.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no plan to do anything at this point with this area down here. This is there's a drive that kind of circles through here for this housing project. This will probably have to remain. I think this road was a road that was continuing on through. That was can't see what road that is, but it was I
Herbert.
think it was Herbert, exactly. I think now it's just part of this sort of circulation drive through here. Might even be a fire drive at this point in time. That's going to have to stay. And then you can kind of see the boundary here of the area that's still owned by this landowner, and it is parking for him. And right now that will just remain as is for now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice to see it finished out.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second as presented, I assume,
Yeah.
As presented, yes,
and discussed.
and discussed.
We have roll call, Maria, please.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, can somebody let me know who made the motion and who
Daniel
seconded?
Matlick makes a motion to approve as presented.
And John Burr seconded it.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. So ready for our roll
Yes.
for voting? Okay. Mr. Barrett,
Aye.
Mr. Burr,
I
Mr. Gans,
Aye.
Mr. Matlick,
Aye.
Mr. Poster.
I'm not a voting member, I don't think.
No.
Oh, yes, you are a member of the DRC.
Okay, aye.
In fact, there's no quorum if we don't have a design professional in the DRC.
I'm glad you approve your own work.
Did you vote?
Mr. So Mr. Poster say yes. Ms.
Yes.
Schambach
Yes, aye.
and Mr. Biner.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda.
Thanks. Good luck.
Yeah,
Looking-
good luck.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'll see you in maybe in a few months online looking over the hut. Hopefully it'll be as well received. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Nice
Thank
work,
you.
Richard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is future agenda items. Maria?
Mr. Chair, members of the DRC, the two apartment projects that you did a courtesy review last month, they
Yes.
have been formally submitted. The Congress apartments and the Linda apartments. Currently, staff is going through the submitted material, so that's coming up. I know it's not coming up in the next month or so because we're going to be requesting modifications to the design package, in case you were wondering.
Okay.
And also they will need to go first through the design professional for his review.
Okay.
Maria,
For coming.
will I be getting this? I think I did the preliminary one.
You, Mr. Poster, you did the historic review portion,
I got it. Okay,
because that's when we lost our historic preservation officer. So I reached out to you
got it. Okay, now I remember.
yeah, and Rick Gonzalez was out of the country at that point. So Rick Gonzalez is the design professional assigned for these two projects.
Terrific.
Yeah, I looked. Everything is in review, but there's nothing posted to even look at the preliminary change.
No, we haven't posted anything yet, Mr. Berg. We're still looking through the materials.
So timeline sometime in the summer?
This is June. I'm gonna, if at least the Linda apartments, maybe end of July, early August, and maybe depending of what the applicant resubmits. And then for the Congress apartments, it would be a little longer because it needs to go through PRS first before coming to the DRC.
Give me plenty of notice because I will be out in the ozone somewhere.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we'll be sending the usual
good.
email requesting, dates that may work for everybody. And then the other item is the proposed bylaws that Mr. Burr was proposing.
I went back and looked
Sometime.
at my emails, and I sent all that stuff to you in December of 2023, and you merged my documents into a new PDF and sent it to the board. Hopefully you saved it.
Yes.
Okay, but I have not reheard the audio or watched the YouTube of that because every member of the board brought up their own concerns and was going to get back with their thoughts about how to proceed forward as well. So,
Okay, so Mr. Verdi's last document from December 23 with suggested edits. So are you okay with us proceeding with a review by the DRC?
I suppose so. I looked casually over those things and then we discussed them during the meeting. And everybody
Briefly.
had some comments and some questions and wanted to have a consolidation of the thoughts that were generated during that meeting to come up with another draft, which I don't think anybody did. So it's probably time to I will go back and listen to that meeting if it's still on YouTube.
It should be there.
And see if I can come up with some thoughts and send an update. But I still have that PDF file and you should too if you saved it as a PDF file since you sent it to everybody on the board at the time.
Yeah, and it's in the agenda as well in the DRC's webpage. I just linked from the today's agenda.
There are a lot of things we wanted to change that were completely outdated, but it's still part of the IID, so we can't. And I think that's where we kind of got hung up, but practice has changed a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe we can get updates when they're available and then we can put it into the next meeting.
Yeah, and if anybody else has thoughts of just how to update all that stuff so it's a little bit more as we actually function, and send them to Maria so we could all look at them at one time, that'd be great too.
Anything else, Maria?
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, then if there's nothing from anyone else, meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
stay
you.
stay cool.
Well.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good summer.